Sorry about that. And then, by the way, Andrew, our monitor, just so you know, thank you. Forgive us a little bit of a internet snafu. That we always told you this is a little bit of a work in progress. So thanks for hanging. By the way, the big story of the day, we're talking Phillies, brought to you by TrueMark Financial Credit Union. That's right. Check out TrueMark.com/PHLY or stop at your local branch to learn more about the credit union difference at TrueMark Financial today. So the reason why I brought up Charlie Manuel is sometimes you need a guy like just a veteran guy that's been around that's got a good way about him. And Thompson obviously has a great way, just personality-wise, about him.
Yeah, people seem to like playing for him. And I don't understand it. He doesn't seem that charming. Like Charlie, I get. He's charismatic. He's funny. Topper doesn't come off as any of that to me, but he's doing something right in the clubhouse.
Maybe he's just him. Maybe just basically knows his way around a clubhouse and leaves you alone.
Yeah, and even like when we were talking, when Girardi didn't come out for Schwarber, you can see there's times where Topper's almost like, here I go. I got to get out there. But he doesn't, He lumbers out and he's got to give some crap to the umps to back his boys up.
One of his best moments was the Colorado series where he's go out there, Bryce gets ejected, and that's when you saw the emotion from Topper. Yes, but that's him defending his boys, and that's what you love to see.
Yep. All right, coming up. There was a record signing in the NFL that came over just a moment ago, Adam Schefter, who will join the program on Wednesday, by the way. Just tweeted it out. We'll talk about that and how it relates to the Birds coming up next. But first, let me tell you about Rite Aid. Let's talk Rite Aid. Listen, I'm struggling allergy-wise, man, big time. And in fact, I need to stop and see Marge at Rite Aid.
I'm with you.
All right? Like, the allergies are crazy this year. My eyes, I just want to get a fork and scratch my eyeballs with a fork. Stop in, right? Because if you have what I got, itchy, red, swollen, watery eyes, sneezing, nasal congestion, runny nose, scratchy throat, brain fog. I can't tell the difference because I always had brain fog. Cough, all that stuff. Do yourself a favor and go to Rite Aid, man. They have everything you need, whether it's decongestants, nasal rinses. I mean, they have it all. Check it out. And you can talk to, and this is why I love Rite Aid, right? Their pharmacists are so helpful. And it goes back to them. I tell the story about my Aunt Cookie, who was very sick. She had a disease called scleroderma, and she had a lot of medications. So she had a lot of questions for the pharmacists. And the beauty of Rite Aid is that it's a neighborhood pharmacy, right? And you need that kind of guidance from the pharmacist, especially when you're on medication. You have a condition like she had. She had a lot of questions. They are always there to help her out. What side effects, what she needed to do to ward against certain side effects. And that's why I love Rite Aid. I think they're fabulous. I think they're important. RiteAid.com for all your questions, whatever you need. You can walk in, you can schedule a vaccine appointment. Again, RiteAid.com.
I was just at Rite Aid in South Philly next to Big John's this past weekend against the Parks Blast.
Yeah.
That's always great. Love the Rite Aid visits here, guys. Well, guys, listen, let's talk about our friends over at Shady Rays already, because listen, I was talking to VG about this past weekend. What a beautiful weekend we had here in the city. Great weather, so many different events going on. And so while you're outside enjoying all these events, you need to protect your eyes and you need to stay stylish. That's why we have our friends over at Shady Rays. I love them. They have the frames that fit me perfectly in the style that I like, and they have so many different varieties that you can pick from as well to suit your style as well. Best part about it, guys, is listen, the difference between Shady Rays and some of the other competitors is they have the quality, but you guys don't have to break the bank for these sunglasses. That's the best part about it, all right? You're paying for something cheaper, but you're getting good quality. And listen, we all been there. You break your glasses, you lose it in the water, or lose it in general. What Shady Rays does is if that happens to you, they give you the guarantee that, listen, if that happens, they will replace it to you for free. Who does that? Shady Rays does that, ladies and gentlemen. And as always, we got you hooked up with that promo code. Bottom left of your screen, use the promo code PHLY for 35% off polarized sunglasses. Guys, it's a great deal. 35% off polarized sunglasses. Try it now. Head on over to shadyrays.com and use that promo code PHLY. And I hope to see you guys outside styling with your Shady Rays.
All right, JP, thanks, buddy. So here's the deal. the moments ago, the Minnesota Vikings just re-up Justin Jefferson.
All right.
Our old friend, Justin Jefferson. You ready for this deal?
Let's go.
4 years, $140 million.
Wow.
110 guaranteed. Not only the highest paid wide receiver in NFL history, but the highest paid non-quarterback in NFL history.
All right. That's
Bonkers.
Are you kidding me?
Bonker numbers.
Dude,
They are huge.
Now that's gotta set. They say he's the highest paid. That's got to be it now, right? T. Higgins can't do higher than that. He's not worth it. There's Brandon Ayuk not going to beat that. Like that's got to be the number.
Well,
now.
he's the best receiver in the game.
Yeah,
for sure.
So I mean, he's
man.
But
Jalen Rager.
Receivers are getting signed right now.
Jalen Rager. Oh my God.
Are you kidding
it's
me?
True. It's true. You go, are you kidding me? Like he's the best receiver. Justin Jefferson is Randy Moss, right? Like
yes,
he's the best receiver of this era.
Yeah.
And an era of great receivers.
Oh yeah.
Is that the worst Howie moment? When the Vikings laugh at you for the Rager pick and then pick him and he's the best receiver in football.
Yeah.
I would agree.
Yeah.
That was a really
No,
bad
what tells
moment.
you what a good job he's done that he can overcome that.
Yes.
Right?
I totally agree.
Like you think about that sort of mistake would come back and kill you. And he made it go away.
We have one of the best wide receiver rooms, and some can argue that we got it for a bargain too with the way that he resigned both Devontae and AJ.
We were just talking about this, right? I have to be honest with you. You want to talk about a great job by Howie?
Yeah.
Getting Devontae's contract done?
Yeah.
Was incredible.
Yeah.
How in the
it's
world?
malpractice on his agent's part.
How in the world does he not wait for Jefferson?
Yes.
Because Jefferson sets the market, right?
Mm-hmm.
Once Jefferson goes, everything gets slotted underneath him.
Well, Dave P's got a point. Do you think Jamar Chase beats it or no?
Wow, that's a great point.
Yeah.
The Bengals, they'll probably
it's
throw
close.
that money.
He might.
You know what? You're right. I don't know. I still think Jefferson's the best receiver, but Chase is. We forget.
Yeah.
When Burrow's hurt, he's ridiculous. Dave, you're spot on, man.
Yeah. I think he does.
Chase
I think he will beat it.
You think so?
I think. Maybe but it's like $5 million. Yep. That's a good point by Dave P.
Wow. How do you not wait till those guys?
I don't know. I mean, God bless Howie. He's a genius. I don't know how he gets them to go to the table so early in the offseason.
I know.
You got to convert Anthony to a wide receiver because they're getting paid.
It's a tight end.
They're going to start getting paid too soon.
Yeah, he's a tight end. Well, either a tight end or a linebacker. I already have him going and working out because he's Marinovich. Because he starts working out.
No sugar.
They start June 10th.
There you go.
Did you have him up running sprints at 5 a.m. this morning?
Dude, I had
That's
this
cardio.
conversation. I can't believe you brought this up. So I had this conversation with him Saturday.
Yeah.
Right? Like, so I get home.
Oh, boy.
Like late Friday night. So Saturday, Massimo had baseball.
Uh-huh.
So I go to Anthony. I go, yo, dude, I've put the cones out. And I said, dude, I need you to do sprints. And he gave me this look like they love cutting their eyes, these kids. They love to roll their eyes. Like freaking slot machines, they roll their eyes.
Like, who wouldn't roll their eyes if their dad's putting out cones asking to run
I would
sprints?
honestly, I would have loved it.
I'd be rolling
Let's
my
go,
eyes.
Dad.
What do you mean?
Dude, because
No, but seriously, so he's going to start high school camp.
dude, it's
And he's got to be ready.
You're doing a pre-camp at your house?
The only
OTAs
way-
at Gargano's.
Listen, he
They're
works.
not voluntary.
He works out with a speed and agility guy.
Oh, yeah.
3 days a week.
That's
he lifts,
awesome.
right?
Yeah.
He lifts weights. He works with speed and agility. He's a great guy, Julian,
That's
at
awesome.
Hybrid Performance in Washington Township.
Hey.
All right? He does. So am I out of line? I said, you got to do something every day.
You got to do the hill
You're
sprints.
napping. But you got
Every day?
Yes.
He's a kid, man. Every other day.
No,
He's a kid.
You're 14 years old. It takes you.
How bad do you want it, VG?
How
No,
bad
but
does
that's the
Anthony want?
No, but that's the lesson. 45 minutes a day. Is that asking too much?
I mean, I'm with you.
If he's into it, sure. But I mean,
He says he's into it.
all right.
So if you say you're into it, dude,
This is what it takes.
this is exactly because there's another kid that's working harder.
You think there's other kids sprinting before the camp start?
Also, he's got to get that scholarship because college prices these days.
Forget about scholarships. I'm out here. It's not about scholarships. Like,
All
trust me. It's not about me. I don't need to
You're
live.
instilling work
I don't
ethic
need to
over
live
there.
vicariously through my
I'm
children.
just messing with you.
But and it's not about scholarships. But if you really want to play, right? This is true. This goes with any sport, right? You really want to play, you got to work.
Well, that's just life, right?
Well, yes.
That's a good
and
life
that's
lesson.
what I'm teaching him.
Yeah.
It's not about, listen, he's not playing in the NFL. I got no delusions. But if he learns that this is what it takes to go play high school ball and flourish, then at some point, whatever he chooses to be in life,
He'll be ready.
he knows he has to work hard. And you got to do it every day.
I like that.
Were you on him about the trumpet every day?
That's Massimo.
Oh, my bad.
No, I was not. I was not.
Yeah, I didn't
was
think
not.
so. No trumpet camp going
No,
on.
I do
Getting
have
them lungs ready to blow the trumpet. Yeah. No lung drills.
I do have something for you, and this is a little fun. It's probably for the clubhouse, and we're going to get to the big brain coming up in a minute. But let me just throw this at you. I told Massimo to put the Frisbee down. So he won a Frisbee at a carnival, right? And so Saturday, it was between games, right? He had baseball. It was between games, and he had this Frisbee. And I said, dude, put the Frisbee down because I didn't want to mess with his arm.
You heard he's gonna get some ligaments in his wrist. Actually,
I don't know. I just said, dude, put that Frisbee down.
And how'd he take it?
I said, you throw a ball. You throw. You don't flick. You throw. You're not a flicker.
He just won it Friday, and you crapped all over it on Saturday.
I hate the Frisbee. I always hate I hate the Frisbee.
You smashing him in the head like the great Santini with the Frisbee. Put it at bam, bam, bam.
I hate the Frisbee. We had this talk about the Frisbee.
Yeah, I know. I'm a friend of mine.
It's an inferior item.
It's an inferior.
I don't like the Frisbee.
Right?
Yeah, I mean, I'm on the beach. Give me a football.
You don't like a Frisbee?
A ball.
A Frisbee
You throw
toss?
a ball.
Yeah, no one's throwing a Frisbee.
Yeah, because
Right.
what if
Then
you?
what's
Slinging a Frisbee.
yeah, but what's the
like
fun
the
in
sound
it?
effects.
When you could throw a ball, it's an inferior item, the Frisbee.
I like the Frisbee. There's nothing wrong with
Yeah,
a
but
Frisbee.
what if
I hate the Frisbee.
What if you're
Frisbee
with somebody?
golf, Frisbee whatever, the Frisbee sucks.
What if you're
Frisbee
having a catch
football?
with someone who can't throw the Frisbee? Now you're just chasing after Frisbees.
Well, I'm not having a catch with a Frisbee. That's for balls only. We're
just a
we're
dog?
slinging a Frisbee. Yeah, you want to sling a Frisbee back and forth a little bit? Yeah. Get some nice air under it. You can go some leap up and grab it. You can feel like you're Randy Moss for a second. Make a big one-handed catch as it comes soaring over
It's not
you.
a ball though.
Nah,
It's
but
a fake catch.
yeah, I get
Like
that.
when you catch it.
Yeah, but we
Catch it a saucer.
yeah.
Like what's up with a saucer? If you can't throw it, it's no fun.
Oh
Nah, man. You ever use an air Roby? It's wider with the middle cut out of it.
Oh my God.
You throw that thing goes like 400
Probably like a-
yards.
like a
goes
donut?
flying. Yeah, it's
Yeah, but
flying.
it's fugazi. Like you're not throwing it 400 yards. You're flinging it. Like what's that?
You fling it, man.
No, it's not. It
Come
goes
on.
against your. You know what I mean? You're supposed to be this way.
It's nice and
not that way.
relaxing. Just toss it around. It's nice.
I'm out.
You just-
Congratulations to the Edmonton Oilers
Yeah.
for getting to
Big
the Stanley
weekend.
Cup Finals.
Yeah, they should. Man, it should be a fun matchup.
Yeah.
See how the Panthers handle McJesus.
My Panthers versus VG's Oilers.
Yeah.
You like the Panthers?
Yeah, he's ready to go party in
Let's
Miami.
go. Yeah, I'm ready to go to South Beach.
I hate the Panthers.
We go
the
to
fact that the
Miami.
Panthers exist, the Panthers and the Lightning,
Honestly,
I freaking hate them.
It's a terrible fan base. Yeah. In all honesty,
But they don't belong down
I know
there.
it pisses me
They
off.
don't belong in Florida.
They have a really good hockey team. They don't even appreciate it. It pisses me off.
No, they're great. They're a great team. They've been a great franchise, and it sucks they're
I
in
know.
Florida. Both of them, Florida and Tampa Bay.
Oh man,
It's a blight on the sport.
Where would you move them? Burlington, Vermont. Like, what's a cold weather town that deserves a
I
hockey
think
team?
Seattle would be good at, or they have.
Well, they got the Kraken.
Wait, now we got Utah.
You talking about now?
Yeah.
Hartford?
Yeah. We go back to Hartford with one of these
the
teams.
Whalers.
The Panthers seem like a good Hartford team.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The Whale.
The
Whale.
I tried on a whale hat yesterday at the
You
mall.
did?
I had to run into the mall to pick up some new Vans, and I was
That's
like, "Oh, let me just
sick.
stick in the house."
By the way,
Go in
the
the
schools
house.
are
Oh,
sick.
thanks, man.
I like that.
But yeah, I put on a Whalers hat yesterday. Almost made the purchase, but it was like $45.
That's a great
$45 for a Hartford Whalers hat?
Yeah, it was a Mitchell and Ness.
Because they're
throwback.
expensive these days.
Yeah.
The throwbacks? Yeah.
$45?
Yeah. We need to hook up a Mitchell and Ness, by the way. But yeah, they're
Oh, my God.
expensive. Yeah, I have the throwback Sixers one was like around that price.
Yep.
$45. Like
40,
the hat
45.
should not surpass 25.
I agree.
Like there should be a cutoff on a cap. $25.
That hat's
Yeah.
like 25.
Anything above $25 is you're ripping me off.
Yeah.
know, but it looks
Dave
so
P on
good.
fire. He also says Quebec. They probably deserve
Quebec.
another team.
The
Yeah,
Nordiques.
that'd be another
I
good
love
town.
the Nordiques.
Move the Lightning to
No.
Quebec,
But
and
there's just
the
no money
Panthers
in
to
Canada.
Hartford.
It's not the same market as in America.
They're not making any money down there, are they? Who's watching?
Florida.
Who's watching hockey down
Those
there?
rich guys down in South Florida are
They're not
going.
watching.
No.
They're not watching that. I mean,
They're
seriously.
going for it's a good time with their buddies, not the boys, their
It's a good
buddies.
time.
Good time
Who's
watching
who's
hockey.
watching that team?
Listen, I have
Nobody.
no idea who's watching the Florida Panthers, but they should.
All right. Time now for the brain.
Thank God he's back.
Brain. Red, the brain finder.
Brain. Well,
I'm not sure if I'm in Los Angeles, California right now, my friend, but I'm not sure if I am the brain because I spent last year at the Hockey Hall of Fame $32 on a Hartford Whalers hat. And I actually remember thinking to myself, I'm getting ripped off here, but I did it anyway.
So, listen, he said it was 45.
Yeah, but
So
even at
actually-
32, I was uncomfortable because
Yeah,
I had
well-
the same exact thing as you. I'm like, anything above $25, hand on the Bible. It was the number me was $25, no BS. I'm like, man, I'm getting ripped off here, and it was hard for me to do it. It wasn't because I can't afford. It was just the principle. I'm like,
No,
I shouldn't have to
you-
spend more than $25 for a hat,
For a hat. No.
and it
20
annoyed me. The
Yes.
Hockey Hall of Fame, I did it, whatever. But I have my Hartford Whalers hat.
That's cool, man. How was now you were in Hawaii?
Hawaii was great. Was there for about
What
4
island?
nights. Maui. Had a
Nice.
really nice time. Beautiful there. Got some nice photos. Had a good time with the fam, and it was a good trip, my friend. Now I'm in LA to visit my son briefly, just for a 2-night little thing here, and then I'll be back in Florida for a few days. Then I'm off to St. Bart's, Anthony. I mean, I got so much stuff going on,
St.
man. And then
Bart's. How
Never
about
been there.
The big brain. See, that's what happens when you follow the brain and you bet under. You go to Hawaii, you go to St. Bart's. All right, you're all over the place.
part of the stuff,
is the
man.
Daily Grind, brought to you by the fabulous Bet Parks Sportsbook and Casino app. Don't forget Bet Parks. All right, let's talk about this for a second. NBA Finals is set, and I think you and I are going to agree. We
do.
both love Dallas.
Yeah, Dallas. Yeah, Anthony, listen, it's very interesting to me, and I know we haven't really spoke about it in great detail, but look at everyone's talking about what Boston's done, okay? And I, again, as a sports gambler, as a bettor, I can't just look at it like, look, as a coach, Boston won 4-0, right? That's all you care about. I get it. As a coach, Missoula's like, we won it, we got out of Dodge, we beat this team, they didn't get a game. That's great. As a fan, they won 4-0. That's great. Who cares? But when I look at the things, Anthony, 3 of the 4 games against Indiana with a minute to go, Boston was like a 5-1 underdog to win. Again, give them credit. They were magnificent in the last minute of these games and won 3 games. They were a massive, again, let me stress this again, a massive underdog in. They won. Okay. They pulled rabbits out of their hat tricks for kids would be proud, the cereal would be proud of with the rabbits they put out of their hat. Okay. And then the other game, the 4th game 2, was 70-66. Halliburton gets injured. They're dead coin flip, and then Halliburton gets hurt. So I'm not like doing cartwheels here, like fawning over Boston. I'm just not doing it. I'm not saying they're not a great team. I'm not saying they don't deserve to be in the finals. They do. But what I am saying is I don't think they're going to beat Dallas. Now Porzingis is back. Maybe that's all they need. That's certainly possible.
See, I was going over the matchups. And I was having
Sure.
a debate, in fact, on my Fox show on the weekends. I
Sure.
was debating this whole thing about the Dallas Bigs, to me, is a bad matchup for Boston because Gafford and Lively, and the way Lively's playing,
He's
Gafford and
unbelievable.
Lively, I think, are going to make it uncomfortable for Boston. And Porzingis does not help that situation.
You know, it's interesting, Anthony. I go back, and I don't know if you ever do this stuff when you see guys thriving in the NBA. I go back to watching Lively at Duke. I mean, he played a little bit. I think he played like 18 minutes a game. He was athletic. He was a good shot blocker, but I didn't think he was coming. He averaged, I looked it up last night because I was curious. He averaged 5 points and 5 rebounds at Duke. Okay. Now, again, I did not think, seeing the way he played at Duke, because if you watch these playoff games, this guy is flat out phenomenal. I mean, his energy level, what he provides defensively, his rim protection, his lobs of getting the baskets, his offensive rebounding, his defense, everything. Like, he's terrific. Like, I watched the guy, I'm like, wow, like, he's just a stud. Now, I don't know if that was because Duke just, I don't know, whatever it was, but you watch this kid, and maybe he's just more of just a really good player, not a stat guy, that's going to come in college and dominate. But I'm incredibly impressed with him, Anthony.
Well, and, giving credit too, was a guy that I liked before Doc Rivers was Jason Kidd, and look at how he used him. I mean, it's amazing because I didn't think that Luka and Kyrie would work. I thought it was fun, but I didn't think it would work to this degree.
No one did.
But Kyrie has played his ass off. Like, he's played so well. He tried on the other end. He's not dominating the basketball. Look at his shoot. When he wants to play, he's an elite player, right? So the two of them they're impossible to stop because you need to blitz them, right? And so you blitz them, and the next thing you know, you got their bigs, and here's the guy I think is an X factor and why Dallas is going to win. PJ Washington. I think PJ Washington is going to have a monster series.
Anthony, kind of reminds me when the Sixers had the number 1 pick in the draft, right? And they passed on Tatum, which famously from Markelle Fultz. But as bad as that pick was, that Markelle Fultz pick, as you know, became Tyrese Maxey. To me, Dallas famously, let Brunson go. But because of that, they got Kyrie. So kind of same thing a little bit where they made a really bad move, but at least it turned out like, okay, well, we got someone else great in there as well. Look, I agree with you, Anthony. I think Dallas is going to win the series. I like them. You can get them, Anthony, I think on Parks. I didn't look exactly what it was. I briefed at it. I think you get them to win 2 games or more, minus around 215 or so. I just don't think Boston's going to win this in 5 or 4. I'll tell you that. I would be very, very surprised. I could definitely see Boston winning, but I would be shocked if Boston just wins the series easy. I think Dallas will win the series, and I like them in Anthony in Game 1. They're getting 6.5 points. I don't get it. I feel like I'm missing something.
Because of what you said earlier, the fact that they sweep, like
the optics of it,
there's an air of it. Like I think that's why. Couple things. One, there's an air about Boston.
Sure.
2. They sweep, even though we know it was a half a Fugazi sweep.
Yeah.
Because when you look into the Halliburton injury and you look at kind of what happened and you go deeper into it, so you kind of look at, and I don't think people really like Dallas. I don't think they realize how good Dallas is.
It's interesting. They were still, and I always say in this business, you have a choice, either be consistent or being right. And a lot of the line makers were consistent in a bad way, and that they were making a Game 1. Listen to this, Anthony. Game 1, Minnesota's laying 4.5 against Dallas. Dallas certainly showed through 4 games. They were, these were at least even teams. They made Game 5 the highest line of that series, 5.5. And the games in Dallas, Dallas was only laying like 1.5. So they were not giving Dallas any credit of like, well, you know what? Maybe we got this one wrong. Maybe our power ratings on Dallas were a little bit too low. And listen, in these playoffs, Anthony, you have to be ready to adjust your power ratings quickly. Because I know, Anthony, you're a matchup guy. And again, if you see the matchup is not necessarily favoring the team that's favored to win, you got to say, all right, man, listen, maybe the wrong team is favored here, and be willing to adjust and not be stubborn and stuck on your power ratings that may not be relevant in a particular matchup.
What's I mean, I don't know if you looked at props or whatever, but
Yeah.
PJ
I will.
Washington, I would look consistently over his points.
I like him over 11.5. That was one I did see. I wrote down, I had a list of like 15 of them, believe it or not. Haven't given any of them out yet. I have to go in a deeper dive. But PJ Washington was 11.5, handling his points. I thought it was too low. That was one of the ones that made my list. Look, I agree. I think this guy has become, without him, I mean, certainly Gafford's been very effective. But again, to me, PJ Washington's really more that third scorer they kind of really wanted, needed. As good as Lively is, he's not a scorer. If they didn't have PJ Washington, I don't think they'd be in this position. But again, credit to Dallas, they made those moves. And it's interesting. I have a question for you, real just off the cuff. If the Sixers had added Gafford and PJ Washington, the exact same moves that Dallas made, in your opinion, are they in the NBA Finals? Or you're still saying no?
I mean, it's certainly deeper, right? Like that would have been would hurt.
That would have been
them, right?
huge.
They got
because when
killed
Embiid was
on the
out,
glass,
yeah,
right?
and Embiid was
and they were forced to play Embiid all those minutes,
and he couldn't handle it.
I mean, I think they certainly win the next two series, and then you're playing Boston.
Yeah. Well, again, it's interesting, and you got to give Dallas a lot of credit because those were two moves. Let's be honest, Anthony. They didn't give up like 96 first-round picks to get these guys, right? These were picks. These were trades that you theoretically, Sixers, one of those two guys, you could have done it. Now, again, am I saying that I thought that adding Daniel Gafford and PJ Washington were the missing links? And I'm not going to sit here and lie my butt off saying that. But again, if you're the GM of the team and you see who's available, certainly those guys have shown, coming from where they've come, that, yeah, maybe this would be a team that would be in the finals right now and be the favorite to win the championship if they had made those exact same moves.
You know what's interesting? You know who did think that?
Who?
Tim Legler. So
Legs is a very smart guy.
Legs said on the show, I don't know, 2 weeks ago, he said, they did an NBA trade deadline show, ESPN, right? So they took out all the big trades, all the big moves.
Yeah, yeah.
And so he said, listen, are we going to talk about PJ Washington and Daniel Gafford? Yeah. And they're like, nah, we don't have time. He said, I think that those are the most important among the most important moves in the whole deadline. And he proved correct.
It's interesting. One of my betting partners at the time of the trade goes to me. He goes, Brad, I made a huge bet on Dallas, 45-1 to win the title, 20-1 to win the West. He goes, these two, they're going to win the West right now. And I'm like, I think it's a little bit over exuberance, my friend. And he's like, no. He goes, they needed those kind of guys who can help to add defensively. They only had Lively as a rim protector. Now they have two. They needed a third scorer. PJ is going to be that. And I love credit to him and his bank account now.
20-1? Wow.
They were 20-1 to win the West. I did add a little, I waited 4 games. They won their first 4 games. I took them at 16. So I did win a little bit on that.
16-1. Damn.
To win the West. But it's funny though. They were 20 and 40 or whatever. But I knew the better bet was the West because I knew against Boston these teams were going to be, either whether it's justified or not, we're going to be a huge underdog. And again, let's for everyone watching, I agree with you. You can get around, I think we're around plus 180, plus 185 on Parks right now. And again, I think that Dallas is extremely live in this series.
Wow, I'm actually really looking forward to it too. I'm
rooting so hard for this series. It is. I got to ask you. It's funny. I heard a guy on another podcast saying right now today, and I didn't necessarily agree with him, but I can't say he's definitely wrong. He was saying how Tatum, not counting Embiid, I don't know if you count Embiid as American or not, because I think he switched citizenship. I'm not positive, but is Jason Tatum the best American player in the NBA today? And he's not a question about it. He is, but I don't know if he's definitely better than Anthony Edwards.
I didn't know if it was. I mean, listen, the thing about Tatum is he's got to. I had this whole argument with Tatum. Listen, he needs to step up. I don't want to hear it. Giannis took a lot of criticism, stepped up and won it, right? He's come up small at a lot of moments. So right away, somebody brings up the stats. Well, he's averaging 25, 10, 5,
of course the stats are going to be good.
He's a front runner.
Exactly.
In big games, he'll get you 38, 15, 7 assists. But then you lose, and he's nowhere to be found. He should have lost to the Sixers last year.
No, that game 6, Anthony, I remember being in attendance. Sixers were up 2 with the ball, 4 minutes to go, and at the time, Tatum was 2 of 17. He ended up hitting
Yeah.
like a couple shots at the end, which salvaged one of the worst all-time games in NBA history. But you're right, and you're being fair. Tatum has not really gotten it done in that thing, but now he has a chance, right? As over 2-1 favorite, having home court advantage, having every advantage in the world to cement his legacy. And Boston, listen, let's be honest, Boston has a lot of pressure here. They've lost, it seems like, how many conference finals and NBA finals in the last 8 years in this group? I think 5 or 6. Starting the Final Four, they've lost like 6 in a row or whatever it is. So, I mean, this is their chance to shine. I am praying. I'm going like praying they lose. I can't stand this team. Nothing will make me happier. You will see a smile that you've never seen before in your life if Boston does not win the series. But I really do think Dallas has a good chance. Not my rooting interest, just being objective about it, Anthony. And I think it's going to be a great, exciting series. So I will say that. I'll be very surprised if this is not a good series. And Anthony, we always talk about it. It's the games that come down to the end.
Yeah.
Who wins them? And we know that. We know that.
All right, what do you got for us tonight? Don't forget you can follow at Brad's Best Bets on Twitter and bradsbestbets.com. Nobody does it better as he's going to Hawaii and St. Bart's.
Had a good 7-0 night in Hawaii, Anthony. It's funny. I've been doing my site for almost a year now, and I usually give up a lot of volume. I've had a 10-1 night and 11-1 night. Never had an undefeated night. I had a 7-0 night there tonight. But anyway, game for the night. Oh, just one play today, but it's a game I like. I like the Detroit Tigers in the 5-inning line. Where we have the best pitcher in the world, or tied best pitcher in the world. Skubal and Wheeler are probably the 2 best pitchers in baseball right now. Skubal, you can get him on the Park site right now, minus $1.18. Eovaldi's decent, but again, I will take Skubal unless it's Zach Wheeler against anyone. And basically a pick'em game through the 5-inning line. Again, we're getting out of Dodge after the 5th inning, Anthony. You get it.
I still don't think people realize how good he is.
They don't. He's the Cy Young favorite by a wide margin. He's minus plus 150, I think, to win the Cy Young. Far and away the biggest favorite of anyone. But I like Skubal in the 5-inning line again. But once the game's after 5 innings and let's say Skubal goes 6 innings, I have no interest in betting the Tigers bullpen against the Rangers lineup. But for 5 innings, sign me up like that. And by the way, Anthony, I did bet Zach Wheeler plus 350 to win Cy Young last week when I was in Hawaii. Look, I just think he's going to win it. I think it's his year. I think he's the best pitcher. And Ranger Suarez is a great story. I don't think he's going to get it done. I really believe Zach Wheeler is going to win the Cy Young Award. 3.5 to 1, I think, is worth a shot.
Yeah, I like that. Of course, Zach is going tonight
yes,
against
sir.
Milwaukee's a team you got to worry about, though.
Let me tell you something.
Their lineup is good.
Anthony, great. I got to tell you something. I give you credit for realizing that. No one I talk to who knows sports has said they're like 3rd or 2nd in Major League Baseball in runs scored. And again, listen, would you rather be consistent or would you rather be right? I thought Milwaukee's lineup sucked before the year. I'm like, this team is trash. I bet they're under. I'm going to lose. But I've adjusted, been betting them to win the division, a lot of money recently, and they're now up, I think, 7 games, something like that. Anthony, their lineup has been extremely good.
Well, the kid Sarang, the second baseman, he's really
improved like crazy.
Yeah, he's
improved like crazy.
Contreras have off
Adames has been great. Yelich has been the best player in the league. Yeah, I mean, they're scoring a lot of runs, like you said, Anthony. And when Peralta pitches, they were like 16-1 to win the pennant the other day, and I was tempted. I'm like, but I don't think they're as good as obviously Philly or the Dodgers, but it's like, look, we know in baseball you don't have to be as good, and they're scoring a lot of runs. So yeah, I mean, this is a plucky team for sure, Anthony. And I would usually love to take Wheeler run line against almost anyone, but I actually do have respect for this Brewers team, so I laid off it.
Yeah, makes sense. Big Brain, always a pleasure, brother. We'll talk to you tomorrow.
All right, buddy. I'll speak to you soon.
There he is, the Brain. Brought to you by the Bet Park Sportsbook and Casino app. Let's talk about it for a second. You get in the zone with the Bet Park Sportsbook Casino app. I mean, it's incredible. Money is in the moments, right? What events are coming up? What's your favorite line? Your underdog. You could win big all-day action, all right? Your first $10 bet, you can get $125 in sportsbook bonus bets. Here's the deal. The Thursday night, the NBA Finals, you heard me say it, I love Dallas. Love Dallas. I just think the way they match up, there's going to be a lot of good matchups within the game, right? So I told you, PJ Washington, he said on the Bet Parks app, 11.5 points is total. Go over for PJ Washington. He's going to get multiple looks. He'll have a good matchup defensively. He'll be able to get open threes. He's going to have a big series. So mark him down as a guy you want to go over. There's going to be a lot of fun. There's a million ways to play it. These Park Sportsbook Casino app has it all. And if you want to break, like, baseball, you're watching a game and you're looking for some other action, something to do with your phone, how about live blackjack? You have live dealers. You can play live blackjack right on your phone. They have all that stuff, all the slots, table games you want. It's all there in your pocket. It's got it all. The Bet Park Sportsbook Casino app. Again, you play for fun. You love to win. You bet Parks. Download the app. Play along with us. Got to be 21 or older. Please gamble responsibly. You or someone you know has a gambling problem wants help. Please call 1-800-GAMBLER.
It's good to have Cuz back, VG, but the one thing he did miss was our potty talk last week with Jamie.
You can't even mention potty talk. Class it up. Class it up, kid. It's back.
Well, that potty talk was brought to you by Olipop, guys, because we all are happy to have healthy gut health here in the office, thanks to our great.
Of course, the bro would talk potty.
That was definitely
Didn't take long to devolve into that.
I somehow knew that was going to happen.
Yeah, the bro, for sure. Let's talk a little about Olipop, guys, because listen, it's our favorite drink here, and there's a reason why, guys. We're trying to take care of our health, right? In 2024, that's the objective here. So with Olipop, it helps you because it's the first functional soda with that classic soda taste that we all love, but it has plant-based fiber, prebiotics, and other botanical ingredients that supports that gut health. And the soda also has 2 to 5 grams of sugar with 9 grams of fiber, and that's what we're talking about, ladies and gentlemen, that important gut health. And the best part about Olipop is that it is available in over 30,000 different retailers, including their most recent launch at our favorite Wawa. But of course, you can go to Target, Sprouts, Wegmans, ShopRite, and of course, you can deliver it right to your front door here with GoPuff as well. We got you hooked up as always with the promo code. Use the promo code PHLY20. That'll get you 20% off your next Olipop order. However, the discount only applies to one-time orders, not to subscription orders. Olipop is sold online at drinkolipop.com and on Amazon as well. So for your next meal, consider joining it with an Olipop.
All right, buddy. Olipop. You know what? I like that.
Olipop.
Yeah, very good. All right. I missed this guy. He's coming. Is he coming at some point?
Yeah, he's just running late.
Oh, okay. No problem.
He's getting the meats prepared.
Yes, it's going to be the meat lock.
People in the comment section thinking Brad threw a little shade on Ranger with his Zach Wheeler bet.
You think so?
Oh, I'm just saying what the people are saying. The people are speaking.
People are talking.
Yeah.
So, do you have a preference?
Nah.
Like I used to. I don't know about you. I love when my team has an MVP candidate, Cy Young candidate. I love it.
That's
so
awesome.
Like,
Yeah.
Like to me, you don't have fit, but I do sense that there's a lot of Ranger love.
There is.
There is. And what's not to love about him, right?
He's our chooch.
Right.
He's got grown men wearing spandex.
And it feels like right? It feels like people would rather see Ranger win than Zach. Now, I will say this.
Okay.
Zach deserves to win it. He's had,
You throwing shade at Ranger too now.
This is his time. This is and when it comes to deserve, he's been since he's gotten here, he was a great signing. He flourished. Zach Wheeler came into his own, and I love Ranger to death, and I thought he'd have a big year, and I said it.
Mm-hmm.
Wheeler deserves the Cy Young.
Zach's a real bargain.
Yeah.
Financially. Great contract.
Wheeler deserves to win it.
Yep.
Yeah.
He deserves it.
He does.
Oh, man.
All right.
I smell meat on the grill.
Yeah.
I smell it.
You smell it, right?
Yeah.
Baldy. Here he is.
Baldy. Oh, let's talk some football. Ay, Baldy. Oh, he likes meats and football. Oh, Baldy.
That's right. The one, the only, the great Baldy, Brian Baldinger. What do you say, brother?
What's up, cuz? How we doing today, man?
Missed you, buddy.
Hey,
how you
nobody has
feeling?
it better than us, cuz. Nobody has it better than us.
How's the wing?
I got to go back in and get some stitches. Yeah, it's, got to get a little minor repair. But I'm doing okay, man. I'm doing all right.
Hanging. You look good. That's all that matters. This portion of the show brought to you by TrueMark Financial Credit Union. Check out TrueMark.com/PHLY or stop at your local branch to learn more about the credit union difference at TrueMark Financial today. All right. So a couple things. Before we get into the football piece of it, we were having a debate here. And nobody, like when it comes to advice, I always go to you about everything. All right. So I was telling the guys that my Anthony's 14 years old. Yeah. He's about to go into high school, right? So he's lifting, he's doing strength, he's doing speed and agility, right? So yesterday or Saturday, I was about to take Massimo to baseball, and I said, dude, I need you to run your sprints, right? So I got the cones, and I put the cones up in the yard, and I go, I want 25 sprints. Right, I went one, and I did 40, and then I did 100. Right, like so, what you call it? VG says to me, "What are you, ridiculous?" I said, "No." He said he's got to do this. He's got to hit camp. It's his first camp, and I said he's got to do this every day. Right. Now, what do you think? They sound being too hard.
No, I mean, look. First of all, conditioning is a part to any sport. I mean, you're going to watch the NBA finals starting this week. You watch these guys go up and down the court. Conditioning is important. I'll be at OTAs tomorrow. Like, if you can't be in top condition, you can't be a top competitor. And the one thing about sprinting is the only way to get faster is to work at getting faster. The only way to speed your system up, there's only two ways to actually get faster. One is to increase your stride length or increase the frequency of your stride. And you could do both when you sprint. And so I'm a big believer in sprinting. Even at, ninth grade, I saw, Ant on the squat rack. Like, this is the time when kids, like, everybody grows differently. I grew late. I matured late. I didn't really start growing until I finished high school. But everybody does it differently. But when you get to ninth grade, it's time to start hitting it, because if you want to start looking at the colleges and recruiting and all that, they start looking at these kids now because they want to project what they're going to look like when they get to college. So I'm in favor of what you're making them do right now.
Thank you, Baldy, VG. You're going to be Marinovich. I'm like, no. And the whole point is you got to do something every day, right? Like, it's 45 minutes. It's not a lot.
Here's the thing, cuz. Here's the thing. Kids, either you're naturally competitive and you compete in everything you do, and that's kind of like innate. And then there's most kids need to be pushed, whether it's peer pressure or their father or a coach. But most kids, you have to, just the way you have to practice to get better at anything, I believe in being competitive every day, competing every day. Just go watch David Beckham and his dad as he tried to get to Man United when he was a kid, and how all those things he did in his backyard with his dad paid off, and he ended up becoming one of the greatest soccer players of all time. I believe kids have to compete every day because it makes them more competitive.
Yes, thank you. So we settled that, Greg. Violations, Greg. Let me ask you about when it comes to travel, right? And when it comes to the whole thing, the whole world, it feels like, is on a plane now, right? The idea of and I was having this conversation about to a young college person and how traveling opens up the world, and it's the greatest education when you're exposed to other cultures. What do you think of that?
I mean, you can only learn so much in a classroom. You got to go out and experience it, and everybody experiences travel differently. And so whether it's language, whether it's culture, whether it's food, whether it's, work ethic, whatever it is, every culture is different. And you got to see it through your own eyes to learn it. And so, I mean, I've lived in 6 different countries. I lived in Germany. I lived in Spain. I lived in England. I lived in Amsterdam. I lived in all these different countries. And in each place I lived, I felt like I learned a little bit different about the world, the culture, the melting pot, how people get along and how they don't get along, and issues in certain places. So I'm a huge believer in traveling to fortify your education.
Well, and the other aspect of it too is it gives you a different perspective, right? Like even someone like you, I think this helped you. The fact that you were a military brat and you moved around, you saw Minnesota, you saw New York, you saw Philadelphia, you saw these different parts of our country, start in our country and then, go abroad, but you'll see the different ways in different parts of our country. And I think that alone helps you.
No, there's no question. There's no question. I mean, nobody wants to pack up, in fifth grade and move from New Jersey to Minnesota, and leave your friends behind. But you end up making new friends, and then you leave Minnesota and you move to New York, and you got to pack up and do it all over again. But you learn how to make friends. You learn how to hang on to the friends that you really valued. I'm still friends with a couple guys that I grew up in Cherry Hill, New Jersey, when I was 8, 9, 10 years old. I still see them around, and we get together and not necessarily talk about those days, but we're just still friends. We have a common bond. And so I think those things are all valuable to just the maturity and the growth of any individual.
Baldy on life. It's the best. All right, to football we go. And the big story, Justin Jefferson, a whopping $140 million contract, $110 million guaranteed, the highest non-quarterback in the history of the league. Will Jamar Chase beat it?
Probably. He'll probably beat it. He's been in the league a year longer, and so, or maybe a year before. But yeah, I mean, Joe Burrow and Jamar Chase, they've gone to a Super Bowl already. Justin Jefferson hasn't done anything like that. Jamar Chase has a quarterback Jamar Chase came out last year when Joe was injured, and he said, "I'm open. I'm always bleeping open." And in some ways, he's always open. He's just that strong and that talented. So he probably will. The wide receiver market has exploded. If you notice, none of these teams with these receivers have won anything, to be honest with you. They're just, expensive, fun pieces to watch on Sunday. But Kansas City has proven that you don't need that piece and to pay that piece in order to win Super Bowls. The Eagles proved that because when they won the Super Bowl in 2017, they didn't have a 1,000-yard rusher. They didn't have a 1,000-yard receiver. They didn't have a player with 10 sacks. But they were a great team. And they won with the backup quarterback. So it's still all about team and how you play as a team and how you accent your strengths on a team. But I'm happy for Justin. I mean, I always said this about Justin Jefferson, even when he was at LSU, and even when the Eagles passed on him and passed him up to go get that Jalen Reagor guy. I said, the thing about Justin Jefferson is this. That guy has a plan to get open, and he has a plan after the catch. And he's different like that. And so he's an exciting, very good player. But I don't know that you want, they got Jordan Addison there now. They got TJ Hawkinson. I mean, okay, you're paying all these guys. All right, who's going to be the quarterback? Who's going to feed him now? That's going to be the next question for him.
It's so interesting. You bring up none of these teams with a receiver's ever won anything, and it's been. How do you take that into account when you're you're an architect of a team, and you got a receiver like that, you have a weapon like that. It's hard not to embrace it, right? Like when the Patriots had Randy Moss, they were unstoppable up until the end, right? When they get beat. Look what T.O. did for the Eagles. They were, knocking at the door. They get T.O. They're in the Super Bowl. And to no fault of his own, he was the best player on that field on one leg in Jacksonville.
Yep.
How do you balance it?
Well, you need receivers, obviously. You can't play without them. I think a team to watch this year is just watch the Los Angeles Chargers. Watch the Chargers. I mean, they just unloaded Michael Williams and Keenan Allen. I mean, guys that have had elite years in this business. Keenan Allen's coming off his best year ever. But they're not there right now. They're not paying him. Let's just see what the Chargers do. And they've got an elite quarterback in Justin Herbert. But I would say that Drew Brees won a Super Bowl without an elite receiver. Devery Henderson, Marcus Colston. You go through the guys. They had Jeremy Shockey there when they won. They didn't have any elite receivers. They won a Super Bowl. They had the most accurate quarterback of all time. Kurt Warner won a Super Bowl with great receivers, no question about it. In a Hall of Fame, at least one Hall of Fame receiver, maybe Torrey Holt gets it, maybe he's going to get to. You need receivers. Like Miami just signed Jalen Waddle, which is a good signing. He's a good player. Tyreek Hill's the most targeted receiver in the league the last 2 years. Elite player. Elite players get hurt, like T.O. got hurt. They haven't done anything. They haven't won in the postseason 2 years in a row. So you could pay. They're paying two guys to be number one wide receivers. I think it's hard. And the Eagles are paying two guys to be number one receivers, in AJ and Devontae. It's good to have them on your roster. You're paying them a lot of money. Let's see how they work. Let's see how they work together. And let's see what they accomplish and what they win. Because it's not my highest priority if I'm building a team.
Yeah, I mean, listen, we talked about Randy Moss, but for the lion's share of all the Super Bowls they won, Patriots never had the elite receiver. That was always the argument, right? They never had the elite receiver. And you go through these teams, and Mahomes will show it. Like you mentioned Kansas City, right? They win on defense and Mahomes make plays. It's so interesting. And that Eagle team that wins, you're right. I mean, it belies all the sexiness. They were the most unsexy team ever to win a Super Bowl. You can make that argument. Yeah,
I mean, you can. But they were built really strong in the trenches. I mean, they played without Jason Peters. Big V played left tackle. They had depth. They had depth on the defensive line. They had depth on the offensive line. And they overcame the injuries. And they got a quarterback that got hot at the right time. But Carson had a great start to that year. I think they started 10-1. So, look, just watch the Dolphins this year. They've got all these speed at running back and at receiver. The offensive line looks very questionable to me. They don't look like they have a center. The left tackle's gotten hurt every year. We'll see if Tua could play 18 games like he did last year. I don't know. He's never done it before. Maybe. I hope he does. It's good for the league. The Chargers said, we'll let Keenan Allen and Michael Williams, go, but we'll go get Joe Alt. We'll go build our offensive line. We'll keep Joey Bosa and Khalil Mack. We'll keep our defensive line strong. There's just different ways to do this. San Francisco went and got within 5 yards of winning a Super Bowl against Baltimore, and they didn't have any elite receivers. They ran the hell out of the football that year, and they played great defense.
Yeah, it's interesting. You just know. One of the things that you just know is that Harbaugh will turn that thing around. You just know it. I'm sitting here listening to you talking about what he's doing, and we've said this before. They'll be in the Super Bowl in 2 to 3 years.
Well, here's the thing, cuz we're talking about your son, motivation, and you got to get pushed every day. NFL players have to get motivated, and they have to get pushed. They just do. And certain coaches, Bill Parcells, certain guys, Bill Belichick, certain guys just know how to push buttons. That's what they do. They push buttons every day. And Harbaugh motivates you every day. And some of it is fun, and some of it is serious, and some of it is that's how he's wired. And so he's won everywhere he's ever gone. San Diego, University of San Diego, Stanford, San Francisco, Michigan, back to the NFL. We know he's going to win. But part of the reason why he's going to win is he's going to motivate guys to a better team. Individually, he's going to challenge them. And he knows how to build a team. So there's just certain things that certain people that are leaders, born leaders, know how to do. It could be sports, it could be business, it could be academia, it could be anything. They just know how to lead. And that's what Jim Harbaugh is.
Yeah, that's so well put. It's so well put. All right, I do want to have some fun in that we talk about Justin Jefferson being top five, getting the contract today. I want Baldy's top 5 all-time receivers. Like your receivers that when you look at skill, catching the ball, route running, unstoppable, like just the greatest receivers. And, I look at today and over the last 10 years, and especially today, we've just seen an advent of just incredible receiver play, right? Like nowadays, there's 10, 12 guys drafted every year that are pronounced, that are really good. So I'm curious to see who your top 5, and is Jerry Rice, because he's always the GOAT when it comes to receivers. But is that fair? Is that a slight to today's receiver?
No, it's not a slight. He was the perfect guy in the West Coast system. He got the right amount of targets, the right amount of plays, a proven Hall of Fame coach coaching a system that spread like wildfire around the league. No, Jerry Rice is still there. Randy Moss is there. Sterling Sharp, for my money, he played 6 years. I never seen a receiver built like Sterling Sharp, as strong as Sterling Sharp, as dominant as Sterling Sharp. Period. Now, you could say he didn't have the longevity. He broke his neck. Had his neck fused, could have come back and played, said, I'm not risking it. Sterling Sharp is a top 5 wide receiver of all time.
Wow.
Look, I'll put Drew Pearson in that category. Drew Pearson won Super Bowls with Dallas Cowboys. Toughest guy in a huddle that I've ever played with. Fearless across the middle. Never got hurt. Played every game. Drew Pearson was a phenomenal football player. As tough as they come. Loved to practice. Loved the game. I'm partial because I played with him for 6 years, and I became a really good friend of his. But I'll put him in there. And I guess you got to take a guy from today's modern era. Like it would be hard to go against Tyreek Hill right now. Just like I just did this breakdown on him this weekend, cuz I watched every catch of his this past year. He had 119 catches on 170 targets for almost 1,800 yards. And he was, limping basically the last 4 games of the season. Like he could have, if he's not limping, he gets 2,000 yards. Nobody could cover him. He's, it's 34 below in Kansas City in a playoff game. It's Arctic frigid conditions, and he's going 50 yards for a touchdown. And, guys are tripping over themselves trying to get him out of the end zone. I mean, Tyreek Hill is, I think he's like, I love Jamar. I love Justin. I love AJ. I love Brandon Ayuk. I love a lot of guys in this league, but I don't think anybody is in the category of Tyreek Hill right now.
Well, and I was going to ask you about that because he just dominates a game. Like, what was interesting is Deshaun Jackson was an incredible weapon, right? Like the speed that he had, he'd run through a cover 2. He forced defensive coordinators to roll coverage. Like he just made space on the field, right? Mm-hmm. And Tyreek Hill is better, right? And even more dominant than Deshaun was. And that kind of thing we've never really seen, right? I mean, is he the greatest long ball speed threat in the history of the sport?
Randy Moss was the most talented receiver of all time.
He was also bigger, right? And
just reach, leaping ability, all that. Randy goes to New England after sitting on the bench basically with the Raiders for 2 years, catches 23 touchdown passes. Talent-wise, he came in 1998. I mean, there's John Madden on Thanksgiving gushing over Randy Moss. Like nobody will ever forget his debut, what he did as soon as he came. He dominated this league the way we see Tyreek do it now, but he did it day one in Minnesota. So, Randy's the most talented I've ever seen. Jerry Rice had longevity and did it year in, year out. But what Tyreek is doing right now is, he's just going to – now I know it's a 17-game schedule, so it's a little bit longer. He's getting more catches, but we might not see another guy like Tyreek.
And the other aspect is, and this is the argument I'll make, that maybe Chase and or Jefferson belong on the list, in that if today is the era of passing, right, then the receiver has to have more of an impact on an all-time list just because everybody's trying to defend you, right? Like everybody's there's so much a lot of those guys played in the era of the running back, right? Which made the receiver's job a lot easier, although they had to be great blockers. But you look at today, it takes a lot for a receiver to stand out. And you look at Jefferson, and he's every bit of Jerry Rice. Like, you know what? He'll take it to the house. He'll beat you on an inside slant. I mean, he'll do the same thing.
Yeah, he's we put him anywhere. Just like CD Lamb. CD had an incredible season last year. I know he's looking to get paid. He's looking at what Justin Jefferson just got. Jerry Jones didn't get out of bed this morning after he saw that contract because it's going to be hard to match it. It's going to be hard. But, CD Lamb last year was on the Eagles. Nobody could stop him. He's a phenomenal. And he's like Drew Pearson. He's just as tough as they come. Over the middle, he'll take the hits. It doesn't matter. Like, that guy is just resilient as hell. But look, this is fun. It's fun. And we're in the fantasy football league business. Everybody's tracking their guys. Everybody has this chance now. But, and then there's so many different ways to get guys the ball, and so whether it's fly sweeps, that counts as a catch. You do this to a guy coming underneath, and that's a catch. So, we got to be a little bit careful about it. Tyreek runs this route that nobody else in the league runs. He runs it from the tight slot, and he just runs. He just, he goes in motion and ball snapped and he's gone. And you don't know what he's going to do. He could run a streak. He could run a curl. He could run a sail route. He could run any route off it. I'm not sure how Tua decides where he's going with it. Maybe it's just based on defense, but it's an unstoppable route, and only Tyreek does it.
Yeah, no, it's fantastic. Hey, at some point, I had this whole conversation about flag football and its impact on real football. So at some point, I need to get to your brain about this. But I know you got a busy week ahead. You're going to be going to OTAs. I'm really looking forward to it. What are you looking forward to watching? You got Eagles, you got Jets. What are you looking forward to watching? Let's go with the Eagles.
Well, they just drafted Quinion Mitchell and DeJean Cooper. So, I want to see those corners. I want to see them in one-on-ones, line up. Just be able to stay with the elite receivers that the Eagles have. I'm looking at that, number one. I'm looking at, you can't really do a lot. So to say, Jordan Davis says he's in great shape and all that. Let's just see what that great shape looks like. Does he sprint drill to drill, play to play? Because it's a factor. It's a factor. He gets worn down quickly. I want to see what Vic Fangio is shouting about. It used to be back in the day when Jim Johnson was here. Like, you knew what was going on defensively by hearing Jim's voice. Like, it just cut through everything else. Like, whether it was good or bad. And generally it was bad. Whether it was alignment, whether it was technique, whether it was a fundamental or whatever, you could hear Jim Johnson. You knew what was being emphasized. You could do Vic's not as animated as that, but, this is a new way of doing things. And so I'm curious to see just defensively, because it was a mess last year. I'm curious to see Vic Fangio's impact, just even in an OTA. And then just, I want to watch, like, the Eagles have a new quick game. They haven't had it before. They've never had it, and so they haven't had it since Chip Kelly came here. So I'm interested to see Kellen Moore in the quick game, because the quick game can help you get out of blitz situations. They were terrible against the blitz last year. Let's see a little bit of that on display.
Don't forget, it's the Meat Locker, right? And we're brought to you by Butcher Box. We got to love the Butcher Box. High quality meat and seafood.
I just cooked from the Butcher Box. I just cooked a 6-pound pork buttocks yesterday. I'm telling you, the pork fell off 5 hours. 5 hours in the oven. That pork fell off the bone. Best meat I've had in a long, long time.
How'd you do it? Would you marinate it?
No, I coated it in oil. I salt, pepper, threw a little onion powder on it, and I put it on 300 degrees for 5 hours.
Oh, my God.
Covered it up after about 3 hours with some tin foil. I'm telling you, that thing was as juicy and fresh and tasty as any meat you're going to have.
Oh, see that? And that's Butcher Box, man. Yeah. You got the pork butt from the Butcher Box. And, of course, all the steaks, because I love the steak, and we like our tomahawks. All the best meat and seafood you want, Butcher Box. Trust me. And Butcher Box right now, an amazing offer. New users get free meat plus $20 off your first box. Join today. Use the link butcherbox.com/PHLY. Use that code PHLY. You get this exclusive offer, Butcher Box. My brother, so great seeing you, man. Missed you last week.
Yeah. All right. I'll talk to you later in the week when I get through some of these OTAs.
Love it.
See you, buddy.
The great Baldy. There he is. Gotta love that. You love the pork butt, dude. He cooked pork butt.
Juicy, fresh, tasty butts. Buttocks. What's going on?
That's what you get here at the Anthony Gargano Show.
Buttocks. I love it.
We're talking butts, VG.
We're talking about potty talk. I'm talking about juicy butts. He's like, man,
God,
it was so
Baldy.
juicy, so fresh.
Truth be told, I've always been a
buttissimo man.
Yeah.
A buttsman.
It's not.
I was expecting to say steaks,
Yes,
right?
yes.
Not the 6-hour
buttocks.
pork butt.
But he said pork buttocks.
Buttocks. The buttocks, cuz the buttocks.
The best is the meat. Like you just put it in there for $3.50, whatever it was, 5 hours. Classic, absolutely classic.
He's a maniac.
Yeah, he's the greatest, man. He really is. He's the best. Let me tell you about TrueMark. I was actually at TrueMark Financial Credit Union, and because everybody told me Vince Pellegrini, our operations manager here at PHLY, was like, dude, you got to get to know the credit union difference. I'm like, all right, I don't know anything about it, but with kids and school and education and everything else, they have incredible financial literacy things that you can get. Great for kids, great for planning. They have all the tools that you get with a bank, all the digital tools you come to expect, right? Like online banking, right? Apple Pay, everything you need. You get all the financial tools and all the digital tech. But here's the beauty, and this is what I loved about TrueMark, is that it's local, right? And everything is born to support local. All right. They have, 24 branches across the area. Their headquarters is in Fort Washington, right? So everything comes back to the region. Everything comes back to local. And it's what I really love about TrueMark. We're such a big believer in putting back and investing in local, and that's what it does. Head over to TrueMark.com/PHLY to learn more, to find a branch near you. That's TrueMark.com/PHLY, federally insured by the NCUA.
Awesome stuff, cuz. Well, ladies and gentlemen, it is currently 10:34 here on the Anthony Gargano Show. I want to take a quick second to thanking everyone for tuning on in here on the show. If you guys enjoyed today's show, do a solid. Hit that like button, all right? Then hit the subscribe button. Once you hit that subscribe button, you'll see that little bell. Click on that as well, because that'll let you know exactly when the Anthony Gargano Show is live. Of course, you can find us wherever you stream podcasts as well. Apple, Google, Spotify, you name it. You can listen to the Anthony Gargano Show on the way to work, the practice, you name it. So make sure you guys are tapped in and subscribed as well. Here's what we got on the docket here at PHLY Sports, though. At 11 a.m., following us here, PHLY Phillies will be live. At 12 p.m., we have PHLY Eagles going live. At 1 p.m., I'm doing a little bit of a triple header here, guys. So I will be live on the PHLY Flyer Show. And then following that at 2 p.m., I'll be live on the PHLY Union Show. We got the legend Sebastian Latou in studio here today to talk about the Philadelphia Union. And then at 2:30, PHLY Sixers will round us out here at that 2:30 mark. And then, guys, I want to give you guys a quick heads up because, listen, it's London week, right? For all of us Phillies fans, we're excited for the London week. But this weekend, if you're not going to be in London, that's completely fine. We got you covered because PHLY Phillies has a watch party. 2 days, Gall & Co. The Saturday event starts at 12:30. That'll be in the Rockledge location. The Sunday event, that starts at 9 a.m. We're having Bloody Marys with the bro. That one's going to be in Port Richmond, all right? So if you want more...
Bloody Marys with the bro.
He already said it, Bloody Marys with the bro.
That sounds like a blast.
It does. We're going to have a lot of fun. We're going to give out some tickets. We have Miller Lite specials. Glencoe's food is phenomenal. Our sales guy, Rick, still eating them wings, all right? He's still sucking them back. So more information is on PHLY/events, PHLY.com/events. You can check out all that information there as well. Guys, you see in the bottom left of the corner, guys got to become a diehard, all right? Become part of this family. We're going to be implementing video calls. All that information will be in the Discord chat. A lot of fun stuff going on in those Discord chats as well. Of course, you get all the exclusive content from our beat writers. You don't want to miss out on any of that, including the discounts on that great swag we got on that PHLY locker. So that's what we got going on here at PHLY Sports. Coming up here, guys, we'll be right back. It'll be Cuz Clubhouse, guys.
Oh, that's what it is. You know, we're not going anywhere.
Oh, we're right here.
Yeah,
we're right here.
It's Clubhouse. This is Greg. JP. So you're doing a triple header
all day today.
Yeah, that's it. So you get the Flyer show and then the Union show.
Yeah, helping out Charlie at 1. And then at 2, we got Sebastian Letou. The Union legend will be in studio here. So
that's fantastic.
On a Monday. Yeah.
Yeah, very cool. Very, very cool. I like our weekend. Bloody Mary's is the bro. You a Bloody Mary guy?
I am not, but I am a drink with the bro guy. Yeah. Some of my best moments in the last decade have been drinking with bro. Always a blast.
Bro's a blast to drink with.
Oh, yes, he is.
He really is. He's a lot of fun.
He might be Uber. If he's Ubering in, look out.
Yeah, well, and just know that he will Irish exit.
Yeah, for sure.
He will Irish exit for sure. I told you the time.
Well, he's got to do a show, so I hope he's not.
We were doing Philly sports trips. We were in Miami with Philly sports trips, and we were on a cruise. And I thought he fell over. I thought he went overboard. Because I was looking for him, and I couldn't find him at the end of the night. Everybody was disembarking the ship. He was nowhere to be found until I realized that he was the first to exit.
Wow.
Because he was so wasted. He was looking for somewhere to go, and he had disappeared for the last half hour of the trip.
Yeah, it's not. I mean, he doesn't do it on purpose. He's completely inebriated when this happens. I don't think he's of sound judgment when he does
He's ready
these
for bed.
things.
It's the Irish exit. Now, here was the question, right? We had Irish Heritage Night, the Phillies game.
Shouts out to our
Were there early exits?
The stadium's empty.
100%.
Right? Good man in the box. All right. Our fabulous Andrew Frazier of Irish descent.
I am an Irishman. Yep.
You're a proud Irishman.
Proud Irishman. Yep. I would do it. I love the Irish exit. That's my go-to.
Were you down there Friday?
No, I wish I was there, man.
I got to say goodbye. Like, I was at a party yesterday, and, like, they just left without saying goodbye. It was, like, a small house. Like, it's not, like, a huge, but, like, you can't say goodbye.
He's a long goodbye guy. This one.
Nah, but it's like, yo, thank you.
Are you? I'm a long
You're
goodbye
a long
guy.
goodbye?
Yeah.
I show gratitude, especially if it's, like, who's hosting the party.
I appreciate
say thank
that.
you.
Oh, you got to say bye to the host. For
Say,
sure.
yo,
Yeah.
it's like seeing you. See you later.
No, I agree. I'm like a goodbye man.
Yeah.
I'm a goodbye man.
Yeah, you have to. You gotta listen.
BG, you're Irish goodbye man?
No, I mean, but I'm not a long goodbye man. Hey, man.
Yeah, it's like,
good
all right,
seeing you.
see ya,
Thanks a lot.
thank you.
I'm out.
I'm out.
Well, he's got that. VG has got the like don't touch me vibe. Like you're not
Just with some people.
You're not hugging. Like you're not going, all right, brother. You know, you're not
I
doing
dap
that.
it up, but if I'm leaving, I'm leaving. Let's do it quick. Let's get it over with.
Yeah. Now, what is it, Andrew? With the quick,
Explain the Irish goodbye.
It's just sometimes, the
the
alcohol.
Irish exit.
Irish exit.
Sometimes the alcohol gets you to that level where it's just you are like single focused and you're like, I need to get out of here, and you're just gone.
I need to get something to eat
Yeah.
and
Go to
leave.
bed.
Yeah, you'll text them in the morning. You'll say something later on. Thank you so much. All blah blah
you're
blah
lucky.
blah blah.
Right.
But you're
He's
just
got a search squad going out in the ocean looking for him.
But you,
Call the
exactly.
Coast Guard.
You just you're gonna find some like fried food or something like that, and then just go to bed.
That's
That's
classic.
it. Yeah.
That's classic. Absolutely classic. All right, it's time now for the best and worst of the weekend.
Dope.
All right, so let's go. I'll start with you, JP. The best of the weekend. What do you got?
All right, so the best was Saturday. And yes, we are talking a little bit soccer, but it's Sixers related. All right, Champions League final, right, in Madrid. We saw our boy Joel Embiid at the Champions League final. He was on the broadcast. And so, did you have the video? So they showed, we have the clip here of the video. The co-hosts were having a little bit too much fun with Joel Embiid, and they were just enamored by how tall Joel Embiid was. So we'll have to see here. So obviously no sound here. Looks good. He looks happy. Sort of ridiculous.
Guy's standing up.
We do not have audio.
No, wait,
by the way.
wait. He's so ridiculous. They actually got on top of each other. These two are so ridiculous. So
That's awesome.
So it's
Oh
cool.
Lord.
So it's cool seeing Joel Embiid because he's a big Real Madrid fan, huge Blanco fan. So it's cool seeing him out there having fun.
No, I love seeing him out there in at the Champions League final. I think that's cool in the
He
broadcast.
should be running sprints. Come on. How's he got time for this?
Can I bring something up about that? Because I did watch the Champions League, and I did watch when Embiid was on there, and they're asking about the difference between basketball and soccer. And Embiid says that soccer is a team sport and that everybody collectively, it doesn't matter if you have a star or whatnot, it's the team that produces the win. But then they asked about basketball and they asked about the Sixers, and he said, what about the Sixers? And he said, the Sixers are my team. As in, like, they wouldn't be able to win without me. So I don't know what you guys feel about
He ain't
that.
lying.
But
You don't want to hear that out
Sounds
loud.
like you got a beef.
I don't have a beef, but it's
You don't want to hear him say that out loud. You're saying.
I want it.
What do you mean? It's pretty
yeah,
obvious.
It's
I
5
mean,
guys versus 11 guys.
I mean, it's pretty obvious. It is. It's way more individual game than it is soccer. It is a team game. Football's a team game. Look, we just talked to Baldy about the wide receivers and how these great wide receivers, they just don't win.
Yeah.
Part of it's because you got to be like an elite team.
Mm-hmm.
And NBA and basketball was about individual talent. So
I think
look, Dallas is there because of Luka and Kyrie, and Kyrie decided to play, right? So now all of a sudden they have 2 closers, and everybody else is a role player. And the Sixers are Embiid and Maxey, and everybody else is a role player.
Well, like in the NBA, like I remember like those early LeBron days in Cleveland. Like those weren't great teams, but those were playoff teams because LeBron was so good. Like you could be an average team
Iverson
with
and no
one star
one.
player.
I
Yeah, that's a
mean-
good example too.
You know, I mean, that's just what it. I mean, I think that's the nature of the sport.
Yeah.
I don't think he's wrong.
I didn't take beef to it. I just heard it and was like, that was interesting to hear because he's looking at one sport and saying, oh, you need a team, and then this one. So I just didn't know how I felt about it. So I thought I'd bring it up to you guys.
Right? You're only as good as who gets you the opportunities.
That's true. Yeah.
You need a good team. You need a complete team.
You need a
And
complete
team like
team.
Real Madrid. That's like an expensive ass team, but they're all elite players. But
Yeah.
it's an 11 that are elite. They play as a team.
That's good. That's pretty good, though. I liked it. Your best.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know.
Joe,
I love seeing like Embiid on an international.
Oh, yeah. It was cool to
broadcast.
see him there for sure.
It's pretty cool.
Yeah.
You know,
I
They
don't
dream
know,
on there as well.
7-1, 7-2.
it's pretty good. BG was your best.
I
You got to shrug.
Yeah, I don't care if he's on that show or not. I could care less if he's at this game, this bogus Champions League based on standings from last year. Come on.
Get around, start
Come on,
shooting some
come on.
shots.
Oh, man.
Yo, this was one of the best weekends in the city. The weather was great.
For sure.
I had so much fun yesterday at Pride Day in the neighborhood. So much love. But my best is Saturday. FDR Park did a shout out or a recognition of all the women and girls who are involved in the skate community. And it was just a fun day celebrating women and girl skaters. My cousin competed in the Queen of the Park.
Really?
Nice, dude.
Yeah, Jackie. So I give her a yo.
Ah, Jackie gets a yo.
I got some video, maybe. Yeah,
Yeah, we got
can
video.
see her
Here it is.
competing.
Oh, that's awesome. Let me see.
So it's not. She was skating for like 4 or 5 years.
Wow.
I'm
Good
so
for her.
jealous of that skill set, in all honesty.
She actually did the painting too in the ring at the bowl. Yeah, so it was just a good fun day
That's
down
awesome.
there. So highly recommend it. Happens every year. So
That's
next year,
cool.
Queen of the Park will happen again. They have great bands playing and food. It's a good fun day.
It sounds like a
It looked
good.
like
What
fun.
a great weekend it was.
Yeah.
It's perfect.
Beautiful weather.
I mean, the
Vibes
weather
were
was.
high.
I mean, I was out. We had baseball weekend.
Yeah.
So I was outside all day, Saturday afternoon, Sunday
Can
afternoon.
I say, I almost don't want to say it, but man, Cherry Street Pier is such a treasure. There is
yeah.
never anyone there and you sit right on the river
They have a lot
drinking
of-
cocktails and beers.
They have a lot
Yeah,
of rules
rules
there. They do have a lot of rules there.
Like what?
Well, I know for event, like if you want to throw an event, like going through that process there, I did a catering event there a long time ago. Like I just know like they have like a lot of
But like
rules.
just a Friday,
Yeah, but how
Saturday,
come it's
Sunday,
never
you could just
should
walk
be-
down and grab some drinks and sit right on the river.
It should be open to the public, and you should be able
It
to
is.
bring like BYO. Like you should be able to.
Oh,
I don't
no
think you're allowed
BYO.
to bring your own, like because I think they have like that beer
Yeah,
truck,
yeah.
and such like that.
Yeah.
But I think it should
Yeah,
be.
but it's such a great part of the city.
It needs to be. There needs to be more.
You're like right on
presence
the
there.
water. It's perfect.
We
It's
walk
beautiful in there
Spruce
too.
Street, Harbor Park, Penn's
Oh, yeah.
Landing, crowded. And we walk, it's an extra 6 minutes. We walk down to Cherry
Yeah.
Street and we sit right
No, you're
along the
spot
river
on.
and drink a beer.
That's fantastic.
You're right on, man.
That's great. All right, worst of the weekend, JP.
All right, so I stumbled upon Twitter. Here are my Flyers Twitter. So obviously the Panthers in the Stanley Cup. So someone brought up that Bob trade to Columbus back in 2012. It's not good. So back in June 22nd, 2012, we traded Bob to the Columbus Blue Jackets. In exchange, we got a 2012 second rounder, a 2012 fourth rounder, a 2013 fourth rounder. You guys want to know what those became?
Oh no.
Crap.
Well, ironically enough, the 2012 second rounder became the Panthers' backup goalie in Jersey Zone Anthony Stolar.
Oh my God. Get out.
The 2012 fourth round pick became Taylor Lear, who I don't believe is in the league anymore. And then the 2013 fourth round they used to reacquire Simone Gagne, who we traded to Tampa before, so we got him back using that 2013 fourth rounder. So just a little more extra salt in the wound for all of us
Oh,
in
that's
Flyers
horrible.
Nation.
Yeah, that is bad.
Brutal.
Bob.
The Bob, man.
Bob, man.
become one
Bob
of the
turned out,
greats.
you know,
He's everything we need.
and he had him, and you went with Humongous.
And then you overpay for
Brizgallo.
Briz. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Florida.
Humongous
Yeah.
was, you know,
And we're
that's terrible.
We're still looking for a goalie, technically.
I know. Yeah.
Florida and
Always
ice
are.
don't mix.
Always are.
Yeah. What was the worst, VG?
We have fun here, but this is serious. I feel like this was a bad weekend in Philadelphia when University Arts announced that they were suddenly closing.
Yeah.
And it just feels like as a society, we don't value the arts community like we should. And there's never a great society that does not value the arts and support the arts.
Did
And
we get a reason for their closure?
They have financial issues like the dwindling numbers and stuff. So that's a bummer. University Arts, home to I think Joe Dante, film director, graduated there. Kate Flannery of The Office. Just some good people came out of there.
Incredible people. And I'm glad you bring that up because it's the truth, right? So I had to I was at a conference in Italy, right? And talk about the great, you know, when it comes to supporting the arts, right? And the Roman Empire,
Yeah.
right? And then it goes down to Florence because I was in the middle of Tuscany for this thing. I mean, it's like it doesn't get better than that, right? And it doesn't get more pronounced. And you're right. Like we need to support the arts, and of course, our city, which is great murals, right? Like, we have a vibrant arts community, and we need that.
And this comes on the backs of Pennsylvania Academy of Fine Arts saying they were shutting down the classes there too. So just the arts community struggling, and I don't understand why. I mean, you think of arts as like paintings and stuff, but no, it's people who create the movies we watch. And they write the TV shows we watch. And like, I spent some time in art classes, communication. I wouldn't know how to run a mixed board if not for a communication school. It's a major part in human development.
This is art.
This is
Music, movies, art. It's what generates creativity and gets us to be free thinkers. It's sad. And this really crappy part about the whole thing, the school's shutting down, is those students didn't know until they saw it on the news. There was nothing from the school. There was nothing from anybody. A lot of them still thought that they were going to class.
Yeah.
My friend works there. She's on vacation. She found out on vacation she has no job.
Are you serious?
Yeah, starting
to imagine that.
Whatever.
Yeah, it's awful.
Absolutely.
All right,
let's get back to fun.
All right, fun nugs. VG nugs.
There's a bunch of good nugs out there. Athletic did a pretty good story of celebrating Topper. He's got a winning percentage of .589, which is the best of a Phillies manager since 1890. He's got the fourth most wins in Major League Baseball, only behind the Dodgers, Braves, and Orioles. And there are some quotes. Dusty Waltham is saying he surrounds himself with really good players, and trust is a huge factor between him and his players. Trust like almost he hasn't seen before. And I want to read this by Zach Wheeler, a quote by Zach Wheeler. I like the fact that he respects me and how I feel. He always asks me. He rarely tells me when I'm coming out of the game. So I respect that. That's why I try to be as honest as I can with him because he trusts me back, and I've never had that before.
You know what? I never understood. you got a guy like Wheeler, right?
Yeah.
And I like with all your aces,
Mm-hmm.
where you almost want to make it more of a collaboration. Like, dude,
Yes.
you're because you might be able to talk the guy into it. Like, if you really feel like the guy's done, it's like, dude, trust me, I think you need to come out. Like, and there were times when you go, no, I feel good, and you got to give him the latitude to do that. And I never thought it was that difficult. But you realize this with a lot of like managers, and it's managers of baseball, but also in every walk of life.
I was
right?
gonna say the same, yeah.
Like,
Yes.
You
Trust is
need
so
to
important.
you need to make it more collaborative.
Yes.
Right? But egos always gets in the way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think that's the secret of Rob Thompson is his lack of ego. He doesn't walk around like he's invented the game.
Yeah, and
Yeah,
well,
very true.
one more quick thing. They close at one of his assistants. To know Rob is to know that he cares more about other people and is more empathetic to their needs than he is to himself on almost every level. His consistency is
can tell.
unparalleled.
No,
Yeah.
I could tell that.
and that's why you made a great point, and I gave you credit earlier. We opened about Rob Thompson and about today's the anniversary. Joe Girardi gets fired 2 years. 2 years ago today, Girardi's fired, right? And it was clear, right? The difference that he made. It's not that we could disagree with some of the things that he makes or whatever, but his attitude, what he provides the clubhouse, is leads them to success.
This day 2 years ago was like such a breath of fresh air. Like I remember like going into, so we fired him, we go into the Angel series, right? And then he starts playing some of those kids. Bryson Stott had a walk-off home run, and like you started feeling at that point.
Yeah, he trusted daycare. He's on.
Yeah.
Look at them now.
Yep. What else we got?
Attendance has surpassed 44,506 times this year, and it's June 3rd. They
insane,
did that
man.
4 times all of last year, coming off a World Series loss.
It's impressive.
Oh, that's really good.
Jim Baldi was on MLB radio, and the Phillies have been active on the phones. 3 GMs have told him the Phillies are active with outfielder as their priority, and this is before the
Brandon
Marsh stuff. Yeah. So he actually said relief pitching has not been discussed at all with the Phillies on the phone calls they're making.
Well,
I agree.
I'll
agree.
be honest with you. I still feel fine about the bullpen. I think they're okay.
Yeah. Sir Anthony's he's turned it around a little bit, but I wouldn't mind one more arm back there.
Did you guys?
But I don't think that's the thing right now.
Yeah.
Because if you're looking for bullpen help now, forget about it. You got to get lucky with bullpen help because everybody's looking for it.
Especially the way Hoffman's been stepping up as of late.
People might get their wish. There was talk on chats and Twitter. Trey come back, play center field maybe.
Yeah, I was just about to say that.
With
You guys
Marsh
seen that?
injury.
Dude, I like that.
Yeah.
Trey in the outfield?
Listen, I would definitely think about that.
The
Keep
way
Sosa?
Sosa's been smoking
Keep
the back.
Sosa at shortstop and put Trey in the outfield.
I like it.
The problem is that I've never seen Sosa consistently hit like this.
Nah.
No.
And that's my thing. And
Well,
Trey's like one of the
but
best,
you
if not the
can
best
do it.
shortstops in the
Listen,
league.
at some point, mark my words, Merrifield will start to hit.
Yeah, he's got it.
Yeah.
Right?
Gotta.
He'll start to hit. And then you could have Stott play short and Merrifield play second.
Options are endless.
So I checked in on the ESPN Cy Young predictor.
Oh, man.
Ooh, see who the top 3 candidates are. All Phillies.
Oh!
Look at that.
Ranger, Nola, Zag, 1, 2, and 3.
Look at that.
Is that insane?
That's unbelievable.
Look at that.
That's crazy, right?
That's incredible. I don't ever the year of the 4 aces, they didn't have that.
No.
Nah.
The Dodgers
And that was
have
Doc, Lee, and Camels.
the Dodgers have 3 up there with Glass now 6, and then they got 8,
Cardinals have
9.
2.
But 1, 2, and 3.
No, that's amazing. Who
They're-
deserves? If you had to pick one Philly to win it, who you got?
I'm going Wheels.
How about you,
Yeah, I go Wheels.
Andrew?
Wheeler. Yeah.
All
The
right.
Wheels.
Yeah.
You were
Goes up.
tweaking me.
That's my
For
job.
saying
I'm
just-
supposed to tweak you.
Yeah. For saying justice is wheels.
No, come on. Do you know the name Paul Emerson, anyone?
Sounds so
no,
familiar.
of course not. CT Pan is a golfer who I never even heard of. He was golfing this week, and his caddy Fluff took a header, twisted his ankle.
Fluff?
Yeah, Fluff took
a header?
Yeah. So Paul Emerson calls this guy out of the crowd.
Who's at the bro?
No, CT Pan calls Paul Emerson. He squeezes into this little bib, and he carries this guy's clubs the rest of the way.
That's awesome.
Right? He just asked someone to come out of the crowd. So Paul Emerson got his day made. He went to an event. Look at it. He's got the caddy bib. It's a little small for him.
Looks like Bro's older brother.
Yeah. And he tries to squeeze in, but imagine being that guy. You go into a PGA event, you end up carrying
awesome.
a
That's pretty cool.
That's very cool.
That's your call up right there.
Oh my God. That's fantastic.
And it's going to get excited with this one.
Oh, yeah?
So back in the day, we would have the Sears catalog, and you could get
I've heard of those.
NFL merch for anything. But going back to school, these NFL team pencils.
Dude, I had those pencils.
Yeah, you had to have
I
them.
had those pencils.
Yes.
Wow.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah. So the pencils.
Number 2s.
They're all just regular number 2 pencils.
NFL
They're not colored, but they're just deck painted for team colors.
And you know what? I don't know why I love them.
Me
It's
neither. They're so dumb.
It's so dumb, but I had them.
And
That's
I
our
wouldn't
back in the day moment. Brought to you by Rite Aid. Visit your local
That's
Rite Aid
awesome.
today. Stock up on allergy relief or catch up on immunizations for RSV, shingles, and more. Walk in and schedule a vaccine appointment at riteaid.com.
I wouldn't use the Cowboys one, of course.
No,
Right?
Same thing.
Right in the trash.
Right? Never use the Cowboys.
Never.
Be the one you snap.
Yeah. Yeah, right in the trash.
Or give to a friend that you don't want.
But I used to think it was bad luck. Like you never use it until you take a test.
Don't touch
Oh,
it.
no. Get out of here.
Right?
Take a
Like
test,
you
yeah.
can't use the Cowboy one.
Give it to the teacher you don't like.
I don't know. The NFL was always bigger than life.
Yeah.
Our whole lives.
Blanket,
Still
like
is.
bedding.
The sheets.
Yeah.
I used to have the bedspread.
Yes.
With remember the Buccaneer?
Yes.
It was like the pyre. Like it was like the
I
Tampa
always
Bay.
dug the Buccaneers.
Yeah. And
That's
then I
awesome.
hated the Pat the Patriot. He was the guy hiking the football.
Yeah.
He used to hike the football. Pat the Patriot. That bastard. Never liked him.
All right, Ant. Big question for you. Where does South Philly begin in Philadelphia? What street begins South Philly?
Well, off of Center City? Well, Bainbridge, really, because from
You think
south,
Bainbridge?
south is really like the line of demarcation.
Yep. So the Inquirer put this out there last week and had people vote on it. And they voted overwhelmingly Washington Avenue,
Wow, so it's
with
going
South
south.
Street second. But these boneheads, if you vote Washington Avenue, the Italian market is not part of South Philly.
I know. That's why it's you can't.
Yeah, knuckleheads.
It's always been South Street.
Right.
So, like, anything south of South Street was South Philly,
Yes.
right? Beginning with Bainbridge Street.
Yeah.
And you go back in the day, and he's right. Like, listen, the things changed and everything else, but it was always South Street. That was always the way.
Yeah.
Okay.
Angelo's.
Nay.
Sarcones, Angelo's, that would all be not South Philly because they're all north of Washington. So get out of here with that
You can't go,
voting.
why? Where did that come from?
It's the Inquirer.
Yeah,
They did on Twitter and
So
on
where
their
does
site.
North Philly start then?
North of Market.
Well, no, you would have yes. I mean, you would like Center City only goes really. I always thought Center City went to like Arch Street.
Yeah. You have Chinatown.
Like if you go from
Maybe.
south to Arch, would kind of be
Center City.
Yeah.
Yeah. I could buy into that. Yeah, I'm good with that. You got Chinatown on the one side, then you start to dip into Fairmount a little
Yeah.
bit.
Well, that's North Philly's had the most change over the years.
Yeah, a lot of it.
Yeah.
All right, well, let's go to do it, boys. Great stuff, man.
Yeah, it's good having you back, man.
I miss you guys so much. It's funny. It was only 4 days.
I got a comment. I need to address this comment.
Yes.
Jackie Moon. That's a really embarrassing loss and encapsulates why we have lost past postseasons. Can't do anything with runners in scoring position. I'm assuming he's talking about last night's game. Check this out. 2024 runners in scoring position. Your Philadelphia Phillies ranked number 4th in all of baseball with a 288 average. And with runners in scoring position with 2 outs, take this, Jackie Moon. They're number 1 with a 276 average.
Stats.
So they are okay with runners in scoring position this year.
Yeah, don't worry, Jack. This team, like I didn't have any kind of like you lose. You can't get upset at losing a game here and there.
It feels
I mean,
like
that's-
almost every other night they have bases loaded too, and then obviously they're driving those boys in. Yeah, that's for fun.
Yeah, you can't get upset for losing a game. Like, come on.
nah,
Like,
Jack,
it's
nah.
ridiculous.
You won the series.
No,
You
they're
win
good,
every
man.
single one.
Listen, this whole thing just needs to be enjoyed for the rest of the summer.
That was a fun weekend.
Yeah.
You know, and you can't bring any playoff It's so different. Playoffs are different animals. Just put the playoffs aside. All right, that's going to do it for today's show. Guys, as always, thanks for hanging with us. We love you guys. Be careful, all right? And we'll see you in the morning. Great job, Andrew.
We all silly like the mayor.